A lot of the survival advice you see online is going to get you hurt. I'm going to be straight with you. If you're over 50, it's built on the assumption of strength you may not have, and that's a fatal mistake. The real system of survival isn't about fighting harder, it's about thinking smarter. In this video, I'm breaking down the 7 practical skills of what I call the silent survival system, a new approach that turns your age and experience into your single greatest weapon. This isn't about a garage full of expensive gear or fantasies about being some lone wolf commando. This is a realistic system, built for those of us who have more miles on the odometer, but also have a level of wisdom and pattern recognition a younger person just can't match. It's about acknowledging reality while leveraging our greatest strengths. Today, I'm going to share the 7 core skills of this survival system, designed for those of us with more experience than brute strength. We're going to break down each one, toss out the old, dangerous advice, and replace it with a strategy that actually works in the real world. We'll cover how to become invisible to threats, how to manage your body's energy like it's the only bank account you have, and how to move with purpose and safety. Let's jump in. Number 1, the skill of strategic invisibility. The first skill, and maybe the most important, is mastering strategic invisibility. Here's what most survival content gets completely wrong. It tells you to turn your home into a fortress. You see images of sandbags, boarded up windows, and this defiant attitude. The message is, look tough and get ready for a fight. But here's the truth. What does that fortress actually do? First, it takes a huge amount of physical work. Hauling sandbags, drilling plywood, that's a job for a team of strong, young guys, not 1 or 2 people managing the realities of an aging body. The risk of throwing out your back or falling off a ladder before the crisis even starts is massive. You could take yourself out of the game on day 1. More importantly, that fortress doesn't deter threats. It attracts them. Think about it this way. It's a giant flashing sign that screams, "The people in this house have stuff worth taking. Food, water, medicine." You've just painted a massive target on your own back. Defending it requires 24/7 vigilance and the ability to fight off younger, stronger people. It's a strategy that relies on strength, and that is a losing battle. The solution is the exact opposite: strategic invisibility. It's the skill of being so uninteresting, so average, that trouble just passes you by. It's about hiding in plain sight. Your greatest defense is being overlooked. So, how do you do it? It happens on 3 levels. First, your property. Your home should look forgettable. In a crisis, a perfectly manicured lawn and fresh paint can signal you have resources. A slightly overgrown yard, a faded flag, a general state of normalcy, that's your camouflage. You want someone to walk past and think, nothing to see here. Second, your appearance. If you're out, you're not wearing tactical pants. You're wearing bland, normal clothes. You walk with purpose, but not aggression. This is where your experience comes in. You know how to read a room. You can sense the subtle cues of danger, the desperate eyes, the aggressive body language, and you quietly move away before it ever becomes a problem. That isn't cowardice, it's intelligence. Third, your operational security. This is about what you say and who you say it to, long before anything happens. You don't brag about your food store or your generator. In fact, you might even do the opposite, mentioning to a neighbor how worried you are. The guy who screams loudest about how prepared he is, he's the first one getting a knock on the door when things get bad. Strategic invisibility is a quiet, disciplined practice. It conserves energy and avoids conflict. Predators are looking for the strong buck, not the quiet mouse in the corner. Be the mouse. Number 2, the skill of pacing and preservation. The second skill is pacing and preservation. This is about mastering your body's energy budget. Conventional survival thinking is all about the blitz. Work frantically for 18 hours, haul all the water, chop all the wood, do it all right now. It's a young person's game, built on the idea that your body can be pushed to the limit and just bounce back. Now let's be real about that fantasy. For anyone over 50, that approach is a direct path to disaster. Your body isn't a limitless well of energy, it's a bank account, and making huge panicked withdrawals will leave you bankrupt when you need it most. Pushing yourself to exhaustion on day 1 means you have nothing left for day 2. Worse, this is where injuries happen. A moment of fatigue leads to a misstep. Rushing to lift something heavy leads to a hernia or a back spasm. A simple slip while chopping wood in a hurry can mean a deep cut that, in a world without urgent care, becomes a life-threatening infection. The get-it-done-now mentality can put you out of commission for the entire event. The solution is pacing and preservation. It's the wisdom to know that survival is an ultra-marathon, not a sprint. The goal isn't to win the first day, but to still be functional on day 30. So, how do you do this? First, adopt the 70% rule. Never push yourself to your absolute physical limit. Always leave 30% in the tank. If you think you could carry that whole stack of firewood in 1 trip, you deliberately do it in 2. It seems less efficient, but it's profoundly more effective. That 30% you save is your emergency fund for the unexpected. Second, break break every big task down. Instead of organize the basement, the task is move one box to the basement. Do that, then sit down. Rest. Let your heart rate come back to normal. This prevents the fatigue that leads to mistakes, and it keeps you from feeling overwhelmed. Third, you master ergonomic efficiency. This is where a lifetime of experience pays off. You don't lift with your back. You know better. You use levers, wheels, and ramps. You get a sturdy dolly or a garden cart. You think about the physical cost of every single action before you take it. Number 3, the skill of adaptive mobility. The third pillar is adaptive mobility. This is about moving through your world safely and efficiently. What does the typical prepper media show you? Guys in peak condition running through the woods with a 60-pound pack, hopping over logs. The message is that survival means being a special forces operator. If you can't run a 5K with a bug-out bag, you're a lost cause. Let's be straight, that narrative is dangerous. For most people, especially over 50, trying to live up to that is a recipe for a catastrophic injury. A misstep on uneven ground can mean a torn ACL. A fall for a 25-year-old is a bruise. For a 65-year-old, it can be life-altering. The data is clear. Exercises that improve balance can cut the rate of falls in older adults by nearly 25%. Stability, not speed, is the key. The solution is to reject the commando fantasy and embrace adaptive mobility. This isn't about becoming an athlete. It's about becoming an intelligent mover. This has 2 parts: adapting your environment and adapting your movement. First, adapting your environment. You do this now. Arrange your home to minimize risk. Store essential supplies where you can get to them without using stairs in an emergency. Put things you use often at waist height, so you're not constantly bending and reaching. Create clear, wide pathways. Get rid of the clutter, loose rugs, and cords that become trip hazards in the dark. Second, adapt your movement. You consciously move in a way that protects your body. You practice staged movement. Instead of carrying a heavy pot of water from the stove to the counter in one go, you slide it, reposition your feet, and then make the final lift. You break the action down into steps to stay in control. On uneven ground, you use short, deliberate steps. Speed is the enemy of stability. You also work on what experts call the stability triangle: strength, balance, and coordination. You don't need to be a bodybuilder, but baseline strength from things like chair yoga, tai chi, or light resistance bands is critical. These activities are proven to improve mobility in older adults. It's not about how you look, it's about how you function. Adaptive mobility is the quiet skill of not getting hurt. It's the wisdom to choose the safe path over the fast one. In a crisis, the person who can still walk on day 50 is infinitely more capable than the hero who broke his ankle on day 2. We've just covered the first 3 skills: strategic invisibility, pacing and preservation, and adaptive mobility. These are the foundations for turning your experience into a real advantage. Before we get to the next 4, I want to hear from you. Which one of these makes the most sense to you? And what's a smarter, not harder tip you've learned that fits this system? Drop it in the comments below. The experience in this community is our biggest asset, so please share it. Number 4, the skill of resource multiplication. The 4th skill is one that relies completely on your brain over brawn: resource multiplication. The classic prepper stereotype is the hoarder. The idea is to pile up mountains of everything: food, water, gear. Security is measured in pounds and pallets. But think about the real cost of that approach. It's incredibly expensive. It takes up a ton of space. And all those resources are heavy and hard to move. If you have to evacuate, you're leaving 99% of it behind. And like we said before, that giant stash just makes you a target. The smarter solution is resource multiplication. It's the skill of using your knowledge to make what you have go further, to fix what's broken, and to create what you need. It's about having a toolbox in your head, not just in your garage. The hoarder has 500 bags of rice. The resource multiplier knows how to find wild edibles to supplement a smaller supply. This is about shifting your focus from stuff to skills. A person with 100 pounds of gear is prepared for 100 pounds of problems. A person with 100 skills is prepared for 1,000. So what does this look like in practice? First, it means learning practical, old-world knowledge. Learn to sew. A needle and thread can fix a torn jacket or repair a tent. Learn basic food preservation beyond canning, like dehydrating or salting. These methods don't need a lot of special equipment. Second, become a jack-of-all-trades repair person. You don't have to be a master mechanic, but you should know how things work. Learn how to sharpen a knife. A dull blade is a liability. A sharp one is a force multiplier. Learn basic small engine repair. repair, how to clean a carburetor on a generator. That one skill can be the difference between having power and sitting in the dark. These are knowledge-based skills, not strength-based. Third, it's about creative repurposing. This is where a lifetime of making do becomes a superpower. It's seeing a plastic bottle not as trash, but as a water filter or a mini greenhouse. It's seeing an old t-shirt as cordage or bandages. This mindset fights the modern disposable culture and replaces it with ingenuity. Number 5, the skill of preventative maintenance. The fifth skill is maybe the most disciplined of all, preventative maintenance. In survivalism, there's a huge focus on the fix. The generator's broken, the filter's clogged. The mindset is reactive, driven by crisis. Here's the problem with that. Reacting to a failure in the middle of a crisis is the worst possible time to solve a problem. You're stressed. Resources are limited. The consequences are 100 times higher. A generator that won't start in a winter blackout isn't an inconvenience. It's a potential death sentence. A chronic health condition that flares up because you ran out of medicine is an emergency within an emergency. The smarter approach is preventative maintenance. It's the discipline of making sure things don't fail in the first place. It's about solving problems months or years before they happen. This applies to two things, your gear and your body. First, your gear. This means having a regular maintenance schedule. It's not enough to buy a generator. You have to start it every month, stabilize the fuel, and check the oil. Your axe handle needs to be checked for cracks. Knives need to be oiled. Batteries need to be rotated. This is quiet, methodical work that prevents catastrophic failure when you can least afford it. The second, and more important domain, is your own body. For an older prepper, your health is your single most valuable asset. Preventative maintenance is non-negotiable. This means working with your doctor to have an extra supply of critical medications. It means managing chronic conditions with diligence. And it means daily, low-impact functional fitness. I'm not talking about marathon training. I'm talking about 15 to 20 minutes a day of stretching, chair yoga, or Tai Chi to keep your balance and flexibility. As we know from the research, these activities are proven to reduce falls and improve your ability to move. It also means paying attention to nutrition and hydration every single day. Your body can't run on stress and bad fuel. By keeping yourself well maintained, you prevent the emergency within the emergency. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure. Number 6, the skill of alliance. Forging. The sixth skill is a direct takedown of one of the most dangerous myths out there, the lone wolf. The myth, from movies and books, is the solitary survivor who trusts no one. It's sold as the peak of preparedness. Let's be brutally honest about this fantasy. The lone wolf strategy is a guaranteed death sentence. It is an arrogant denial of reality. I'm going to be straight with you. No one can stay awake 24/7 on watch. No one can do everything themselves. What happens if you get sick or injured? A simple fever becomes a fatal event if there's no one to bring you water. Isolation isn't a strength, it's the ultimate vulnerability. The solution is the skill of alliance forging. This isn't about building a militia, it's about carefully cultivating a small, reliable, mutually supportive group, your tribe. So how do you forge these alliances? First, it's a process of careful observation that starts now. You don't put up a flyer, you use your life experience to read people. Watch your neighbors. Who quietly helps others? Who demonstrates practical skills and a calm head? Conversely, who's the hothead? Who gossips? Your decades of social pattern recognition are your best vetting tool. You're looking for character, not just skills. Second, you build the alliance slowly through acts of mutual support. You start by lending a cup of sugar or helping with a small repair. You build a foundation of trust in normal times. Share some extra vegetables from your garden. These small acts build a powerful social contract. Then you can slowly bring up related topics and gauge their reaction. Crazy how empty the shelves got after that last storm scare, huh? Their answers tell you a lot. Third, you identify complementary skills. A good team isn't 5 identical people. You have your skills. Maybe another person is a retired nurse. Maybe another is a gifted mechanic. Your role, as the experienced one, is often the strategic thinker, the calm voice of reason. Number 7, the skill of decisive observation. We've arrived at the final skill, the one that governs all the others, decisive observation. In a crisis, the most common reaction is panic. The power goes out, the sirens wail, and the instinct is to do something, anything. This leads to frantic, impulsive actions. People rush the stores. They make rash decisions based on incomplete information. It's the headless chicken response, and it wastes energy and clouds judgment. Rash, panicked action is the enemy of survival. It wastes energy, consumes resources and exposes you to danger. Fleeing without a clear destination can lead you into a worse situation. Making a decision based on the first rumor you hear is a gamble, not a strategy. The superior alternative is the skill of decisive observation. It is the learned discipline to resist the urge to panic and instead to stop, watch, listen, and think. It's the ability to stay calm, gather information, and let your experience recognize patterns that younger, more panicked people will miss. The right action taken in 1 hour is infinitely better than the wrong action taken in 1 minute. How do you apply this? First, it's about staying in the moment. When the crisis hits, you take a deep breath. You deliberately slow your heart rate. You engage your senses. What do you actually see and hear? You anchor yourself in reality, which pushes back against the panic. Second, you become an information gatherer. While others are running in circles, you're collecting data. You're listening to a battery-powered radio. You're watching the flow of traffic. You're noting how your neighbors are behaving. Each piece of information is a pixel in a larger picture. Your goal is to see the picture before you make a move. Third, and this is critical, you trust your lifetime of pattern recognition. This is your superpower. You've seen financial downturns. You've lived through disasters. You've seen how people act when they're scared. You have a context that a 25-year-old doesn't. You can sense the shape of the event. Only after this period of calm observation do you act. And when you act, it's a decisive, deliberate move based on analysis. You make one smart move instead of 10 frantic, wasted ones. It's the calm center of the storm, the quiet mind that lets wisdom guide you through the chaos. So, let's do a quick recap. The silent survival system is built on 7 pillars of wisdom, not strength. Number 1, strategic invisibility. Don't be a target, be uninteresting. Number 2, pacing and preservation. Manage your energy like a finite bank account, because it is. Number 3, adaptive mobility. Move safely to prevent the injury that takes you out of the game. Number 4, resource multiplication. Knowledge over stuff. Your mind is your best multi-tool. Number 5, preventative maintenance. Solve problems before they happen. Keep your body and gear ready. Number 6, alliance forging. Reject the lone wolf myth. Build a small, trusted team. And number 7, decisive observation. Resist panic. Stop, think, and use your experience to make one smart move. These 7 skills work together. They shift the focus from youthful traits you may no longer have to the strengths you now possess. Wisdom, patience, discernment, and strategic thinking. Stop listening to the advice that tells you your age is a liability. It's not. Your experience is not a weakness. It is your single greatest weapon. The silent survival system lets you use it. You don't have to be the strongest or the fastest. You just have to be the smartest. And that is a game you are uniquely equipped to win. If this way of thinking about survival makes sense to you, if it connects with the wisdom you've earned over the years, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for more practical, realistic survival strategies built for the real world. This is a community built on experience, and we welcome you to it. Thanks for your time. Stay smart, stay safe, and stay prepared.